Hey, what's up, YouTube? And welcome to Play It Painted Live. We are here with tonight's guest, Adam Rosenblum. Adam Rosenblum, famous for being the organizer of SoCal SmackDown, and this time out, we are looking at the Orange County Gaming Regional Expo, or OcGRE. What's up, Adam?
Nothing. What's up with you guys?
We have to,
Wow.
yeah.
Nice and applause. That's really nice.
Whoa, like even more. That was like, I had to hit that twice.
So I really like the downward view of the models.
Yeah, right now, well, I'm still getting set up, actually. So, that's, you know what it's like. Yeah, you got your kid till 8:59, and then your wife says, "Hey, don't you have that thing?" And I go, "Yeah, I do have that thing." And then you get.
It's actually 9:02, and I've still got my kid. See, look, they're over there. Hey, look, that's my.
Yep. Is the little guy still awake then?
Yeah, he just went for a shower.
Okay, cool. Cool. Well, tonight's episode is brought to you by Vondrak Manor. That's what we're painting tonight. I know, I painted this before on the show. Probably like my fourth time painting it. But I had another set, and I am out of Relic Knights miniatures, so that's what we're doing. So, yeah, I mean, I want to say that we're going to do like a formal interview, but honestly, Billy already did that. So, really, we're just kind of here to hang out, Adam, and just want to kind of talk to you a little bit about OcGRE, how the campaign is going, what are some of the things that we can expect to see, and just kind of your whole experience running this Kickstarter. So, as you can tell, there was no specific question in there.
There were actually quite a few specific questions in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, How is the campaign going? Well, as you see, we've got 10 days left, and we're almost 50% there.
Okay.
So, in 20 days, we've been able to hit almost 50%. So we really need to hit that boost in the last 10 days, or else there won't be a convention. So one of the common questions that we've been getting lately is, so if you don't fund with Kickstarter, there are people interested, so you'll still have the convention, right? And sadly, the answer is no. The convention Kickstarter, we're not doing it to sell pre-sale. We're not doing it to see who's interested and who's not interested. The idea of the Kickstarter is to actually be able to fund the hotel. So if you look at the number, how it breaks down when we did that, where are we using the money? The money will be used, $15,000 is what we've asked for. $1,500 goes to Kickstarter/Amazon, and the other $13,500, cool, we just got a new model on the screen. The other $13,500 goes to the hotel. I mean, that doesn't include any of the add-ons or anything like that, which Henry and I will end up paying for at this point. That money just goes purely to the hotel.
So you mean if this thing doesn't fund, you still have costs to cover in terms of having some of those add-ons, at least the prototypes made? I assume you didn't do any like production runs on any of the like dice or anything like that, right?
No, the only cost we've had right now is, we did a deposit of the hotel, so we'd be out of the deposit. So that's $1,000 gone.
Okay.
We'd have some of the other hard costs of the website, email, blah, blah, blah. But whatever, those are negligible, really. But by the time we're done, and advertising like on KickTracks and doing some of the Facebook ads and doing some Google ads, so we'd be out about $1,500.
Okay.
But again, that's our decision to do it. So there's no woe is me or, oh my God, please help me because we're down $1,500. The goal is to get a convention, and if that's what we have to invest to hopefully get a convention, then Henry and I are both very happy to invest that.
Now, you mentioned on Billy's show that you really don't turn profit from these conventions, or at least in the past, it really hasn't been a high profit model. I like that, Chipmunk.
I can honestly, I can honestly say in the 3 past years that we've done it, we have not pulled a profit yet.
Okay.
So every year has been a building year, and every year we've accepted the fact that every year is a growing experience, and every year is a building year. The first year we did about 300 to 500 people. I mean,
Okay.
I don't remember the exact number, and I'm sorry. 2010 is a long time ago now. We did between 350 to 500. I can say that in 2011 we did 500, and in 2012 we did 750.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know those numbers for sure. But they're not enough to pay for what we're doing, because not only is it the hotel or the convention center are paying for, it's prize support for a lot of it. It was the trophies. It's the advertising. It's the programs, which we won't be doing this year. We won't do hard programs again this year. It would only be PDFs.
Okay.
T-shirts, which if anybody wants any T-shirts from 2010, 11, and 12, let me know. We've still got a ton of them. So, I mean, all those costs come into it. It's like, oh, well, you're making a lot of money. You're making like $35 a head or $40 a head. But when you think about it, even at 750 people, when you talk about $15,000 for the hotel, plus everything else, the money quickly dwindles.
Yeah. Right. There's, I mean, that's, and you're really giving yourself no breathing room there, based on, all the costs that you have to incur here. Walk us through though the process of going from SoCal SmackDown, which is what most people recognize you and Henry from organizing, to OcGRE. Why was that change made, and what's some of the strategy going into changing the name to OcGRE and moving this campaign into Kickstarter?
Explain what you mean by strategy.
Well, I mean, it's.
No, I'm joking.
You could have just called it. You could have just called it SmackDown 2014, for example. Right?
We could have done.
You could have just called it that, or SmackDown 3, or I'm sorry, SmackDown 4. But there's a conscious decision to go to OcGRE and have a little have a new mascot and an icon and all that. Can you walk us through that?
Totally joking. So the strategy behind it, since we started in 2000, actually the first SmackDown, just so we know, is 2009. And it was a convention. It wasn't even a convention. It was a privateer press tournament held at the St. Crispin's Church, and it had about 40-something players, which at the time, in 2009, was one of the biggest Southern California tournaments. So we decided to take it from 2009 to the tournament to 2010, where we said, hey, you know what, we need to do it bigger and better. SmackDown was a great name for the tournament. It didn't translate well to a convention, especially when there's casual gaming. And SmackDown, everybody's like, so you're a wrestling convention? Like,
yeah, that's...
Oh, you're wrestling. Oh, okay. So it's WWE, and if you Google SmackDown or SoCal SmackDown, we're intermingled in with wrestling even now after everything that's gone on. So part of it was to bring in the casual gamer. So the Orange County Gaming Regional Expo, we did a contest on the Facebook page of what should we be called, and that was the winner. And I believe it was Darren who won, but I can't remember offhand. So
you didn't like my suggestion of the Orange County Tabletop Association, or Octacon?
I think that was a close runner-up.
But then the problem with that is you would probably run into Google searches against the Orange County Transportation Authority. So maybe that wouldn't have been a great distinguisher as well.
But that would have still been better than the hate mail I got with, why do you guys only want SmackDown? Are you guys 12 years old? I mean, there's no... So we heard from a lot of people, or at least Henry heard from a lot of people in the store, they hated the name and they wouldn't go and they wouldn't support a convention that sounded childish. We're playing with miniatures and board games, yet people won't support a name that sounds childish.
Yeah, I take my painting toys very seriously, sir.
Yeah, no, totally.
How dare you?
But there's definitely irony there. So one of the names, after 3 years, we've said, okay, you know what? We need to probably look to rebrand a little bit and to bring in more of the casual gamer. So that's
And
what.
also, you took a year off in between. I mean, SmackDown 2012 happened, and then you took a year. You didn't run the convention the following year.
We didn't run one
Was
last.
that?
That was because we couldn't find a hotel that met the price that we could do,
Mm-hmm.
and that had free parking. We found
Okay.
hotels that there were two main components. Two that we had to find. One was the hotel that had enough space for us. Well, three really. A hotel that had enough space for us. For a ballroom that we need, it's at least 15,000 square feet. Anything smaller, and we just don't have enough room to have all the events that we want.
Mm-hmm.
So there aren't a lot of hotels that have that. It's mainly Anaheim and Irvine. And Irvine's
Yep.
just way too expensive, sadly enough. There's some beautiful hotels, but like the Hilton, they tripled our charge in between the last year and this year. Even though we had a contract, they said, oh, well, you know what, we're under new ownership now, and they're not going to support us. So where you're paying $12,000, we now want a little over $30,000 for. So that didn't work. And then the other thing that we had from all the surveys that we gave out the other years is free parking. Well, we'd like to go to the con, but why are we paying for the convention and parking? What do I get out of this?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's kind of hard to argue with that. I mean, everybody wants free parking. So
Yeah.
was the other thing.
And the parking situation from 2012 was a challenge for the people attending the con, and I'm glad that you guys are sensitive to that, and we're trying to make.
There was nothing except for the dealer area in 2012 and some of the games. Don't get me wrong. There was very little positive about 2012 for us. I mean, our attendance was up, which is great, but you'd never know. I mean, the Hilton moved us to the convention center because they double booked and they needed to move us. It's a business decision, and I totally understand that. However, putting us up on the third floor of a convention center is really kind of hard because most people didn't even know there is a third floor to the convention center. Put on top of that, you've got parking that didn't really exist because they were doing renovations to the Hilton at the time and to the convention center. So you couldn't get to the parking area of that. And in a 30,000, it was actually almost 33,000 square feet. Putting 750 people in a 33,000 square feet is putting like a drop of rain in a bucket and going, look, it's full. I mean, it just didn't add up. So, and then we got all the reviews online saying, hey, look, nobody go to the convention. I'm like, no, actually, we're up in up. It just doesn't look like it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it upset some of our dealers, which I can understand. It doesn't matter the fact that we're up in attendance. If dealers don't feel you're busy because they look at an empty hall, I mean, it's totally understandable why they'd be upset. I'd be upset. So 2013, we looked at all of our options, and we decided that it was better to skip the convention and give people a convention that wasn't any good. I'm sorry, I've got a guest star here. Hey.
No problem. Look who's joining the show.
Now remember what happens. If the convention doesn't fund, you don't get ice cream.
Okay.
Oh no, but we're still gonna cheer him in, Logan. Everybody, welcome Logan to the show. Look, that's for you.
Okay, bye-bye. Love you. Take baby. Love you, little man. So it made sense. Instead of trying to force something that didn't really exist or need to exist, why do something that we don't need to do and cause everybody pain and suffering?
Yeah.
It makes more sense to rebrand, say, you know what, we'll take a year off, we'll rebrand, we'll get the logo done, we'll get all the ideas behind it going, and then come back with a stronger convention, which is hopefully what we've done. The reason we're kickstarting it is because we can't afford to put out that money again. I mean, we're willing to take the loss of a lot of things, but we just can't take the loss of the hotel again.
Sure. Okay.
I hope
Well,
that's true.
Adam, my question to you is: it sounds like, SmackDown was not, might be a fondly remembered convention, and a lot of people enjoyed it, and but from the most pragmatic sense, not a profitable con. and then we had 2012, which it sounds like there were a number of logistical issues and a lot of heartache that you guys had to bear with, throughout the production of that con. What is it? And this is a personal question, really. What is it that kind of keeps you going, keeps you motivated for, what keeps you passionate about wanting to put together a con? Because after the number of setbacks and obstacles that you've overcome, it's a lot of people, I think, would have already kind of tucked tail and run at this point. So, what is it within you that keeps you going?
Wow, I've never thought about it like that.
Because let's just be honest here. This hobby is, if to really do something in this hobby, in this community, is a truly selfish act, selfless, not selfish, selfless act, right? A lot of us volunteers.
And the answer to your question, if I didn't love the gaming, I wouldn't do it. You know what? As much, it's never been, and I know this sounds stupid, and I know people are going to go baloney. It's not about the money.
You can pass this to the late night show.
Yeah, but somebody else will see it at some point in time, and then, hold myself up to the standards that we try and hold your son up to. So, at least online.
Yeah.
Right now. If it was about the money, we would have stopped after year one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, there's always a money component to it. Like, I still feel at some point in time, the Orange County Gaming Regional Expo could be one of the better cons out there. Will it ever hit Gen Con levels or Adepticon levels? No. But do I think there needs to be a West Coast version of that? Yes. And there's Kingdom Con, which is absolutely awesome. There's the Orcon, Strategicon, GameX, which are great, which is what I grew up on. But Orange County needs its own convention, and it needs a miniatures-focused convention, which is here for people to play, because people love the gaming. When I was growing up, by growing up I mean like in 17, when I was 17, so, I went to conventions all the time.
Not last year.
Yeah, give or take 27 years. Yes.
There you go.
But the conventions I loved. The things we did with our buddies, we spent all night doing them. We didn't go to bed till 3, 4 in the morning. If we went to bed at all, we woke Norm up on the table. And, hey, security's coming by. Wake up, Norm. But it was the best thing ever. And it's the thing I look forward to every year. And I want to be able to give that same experience to the people who are playing today. It's a different era that we're growing up in now. And maybe the cons had its time where it's just not needed anymore, or at least our con's not needed anymore. I don't know. And that's one of the questions that we're facing right now, which I think is the Kickstarter showing. Maybe it's not the time, and maybe people don't want our con anymore. I can't answer that. I'm sad to say that, but it may be true.
Okay. That's a very tough situation that you proposed there. I can say, at least from my tiny little corner of the world, that we, especially my particular group, we love local cons, and we try to really preach the idea, sell gamers on the idea of going to their local cons. I've done a number of shows here where we've done nothing but talk about the benefits of attending local conventions, because I think you're right. There are, right now, the convention scene is all about attendance, and throwing the biggest, baddest thing that you can throw. And a lot of times the focus is lost on what the actual con is about. For example, like you can take a convention like San Diego Comic-Con that was originally about comics and is now, but now is really run by the TV studios and the movie studios. So, and with gaming cons, people tend to think of Adepticon and Gen Con, and they don't really pay too much attention to the local cons. And so to really attend and support local cons in my opinion, is to really be passionate about gaming, and to be willing to put yourself out there and host a local con at great risk, at great personal risk. And you and I have talked about this privately. Great personal risk to your livelihood, your family, and of course your sanity, that is a whole other endeavor indeed, right?
It is. But you know what you do, if it's, like I said before, if it's about the money, you're doing the wrong thing. If it's
Hmm.
for the money, you should get out of gaming altogether. I mean, it's sort of like anything
Agreed.
else. If you do anything for the money, you're probably doing the wrong thing. Um, and I mean, there is a business aspect. I mean, Henry has his store there, and he has one of the larger booths. So, you know, but again, without attendance, it doesn't really matter.
Hmm.
Um, but there is an aspect of that too. But for me, I mean, there's the different aspect. For me, it's all about the love of the game,
Okay.
and it really is. I mean, being able to walk out at 2 in the morning into the convention like we did in 2012 and play a cool game of Cards Against Humanity, best thing ever. So
So, kind of along those lines, is what is your personal measure of success? Because you just indicated that it's not really. You guys are realistic about the fact that you're not going to become stinking rich doing this con, at least not immediately.
if it
And
paid for itself every year, I'd be totally happy. You know, if we don't make money, but we don't lose money every year, I would hold it every year until I'm not able to walk anymore. I mean,
okay,
realistically, that's the truism of it. I mean,
so you're looking, so you're really kind of looking for a self-sustaining con here, as far as being able to pay for itself, not necessarily, and just that you have enough attendance and enough so that I guess enough fundraising so that the costs can cover itself.
correct.
Okay.
So I don't have my wife telling me throughout the rest of the year, really, I'd like to go on vacation, but instead you're going to spend money on the convention. That would
Hmm.
be nice to hear. Or not hear, as the case may be. But yeah, that was, I mean, again, at some point would I love it to be the size of an Adepticon or a Gen Con or something like that? Yes, totally.
Okay.
Anybody would be silly not to say that. Do I expect it? No. I think from the reviews we've had the last few years, not 12, although 12 wasn't bad in terms of reviews for the most part, and especially player reviews, I think we got good reviews. But people were saying, wow, it's a great con, it's a good time. I don't think many people left without a good time. And if they
Yeah,
did, then
I would agree with that. I do think that from 2012 that everybody who attended the con was very was very positive about their experience with the con. And I would think that most of the negative side of 2012 was really logistics and getting people to the con and letting people find out about the con. Being on
uh,
the third floor of a convention center, you're not really going to get the kind of walk-ins that you'd hope for were you in a hotel.
no.
And I think that reflected in attendance and some of the vendor comments that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and then you're not even dealing with the stuff like uh, when we left and the elevator broke down, so the dealers couldn't leave.
Ouch!
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
was
even
even
know that
more.
happened.
Yeah, that was also
Wow!
nice. When Battlefront was trying to leave and they couldn't because the elevators broke.
Oh no!
Yeah. Yes, we already took a vendor who was already not feeling it. Although I heard they did great here, from what I was told. And then he's like, "What do you mean the elevator's broken? How do we get our stuff downstairs?" They take the personal elevators all the way downstairs. Oh yeah.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
So let me ask you this: we're gonna kind of step outside of the from behind the curtain of the convention organizing here. As a convention attendee, what would be your personal expectations attending a local gaming convention? Because I think this is an interesting thing that I've asked a few people on the show before, but especially I'd like to know from a convention organizer. What like if you were attending OcGRE, and you're an average gamer, you might have a couple different miniature systems that you play. What are some of the things that you would expect out for your convention admission fee?
So what I used to expect when I used to go to them on my own, or when I go to Gen Con even. What I would expect is the games that I'm interested in are being played. If I'm playing some like strange third world game, then maybe not. But for the most part, I mean, if you're playing Privateer Press, if you're playing GW, if you're playing board games and you're like Euro games, I'd want to see those games being there. I want to see a program or at least an event calendar that says that, hey, you know what, when I go and I spend my 35, 45, 55 bucks just to get in, then I'm not going to be sitting there bored as all can be going, God, I hope there's a pickup game someplace where I can get in. I'd want it to be organized to the point where people know what's happening and what's going on at the convention. I'd like just that. I mean, I want prize support, I guess, so that when I go, there's a chance for me to win something. With my playing skills, I realize there's a very, very little chance, but I'd like there to be just a little chance of me to get something.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not looking for like a return on investment here, but, you know, hopefully there's a prize vault somewhere out there.
Right. And I also think that, you know, in general, I think that people who attend conventions are hoping that they can maybe do some things that they normally wouldn't be able to do at their local gaming shop, right? For example, like you were talking about walking out 2 a.m. and playing a game of Cards Against Humanity with a bunch of gamers who are also up at 2 a.m.
I think that's
that
great.
Being an example.
Meeting new people is always cool, and playing against people that you've never played against. I mean, that's one of my favorite things about a convention and tournament settings is the fact that you get to experience armies that your friends don't play. And you get to broaden your horizon, you get to broaden your tactics and strategies. You get to demo new games. I tried Rusted Heroes last time, which was an interesting game. And then I tried, the name's in my mind and I can't think of it. The guy from San Diego.
Warlands.
Warlands, thank you. Tony.
Yeah, Tony's a good guy.
Tony and his wife were two of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah,
so I tried Warlands. I thought that was a great game, which I would have never tried because none of my locals play it.
Right.
So it's cool to go to a convention and try something like that. Super Dungeon Explorer. At that point, none of my locals were playing it.
Okay.
So I don't know if we played that at the last convention or not. I don't know if it was out.
Well, it was at the 2012 convention.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, that was. I forget who was running it. I think it was Shears running it. Yeah.
Was it Matt?
Yeah.
And Matt's going to be running it in 2014.
Yeah, he signed up, and we can talk about that for a minute too. I know that that was covered in Billy's interview, but hell, let's cover it here because why not? It's you know. So you got Super Dungeon Explorer that Matt signed up for, but you know, having talked to him, he was sort of like, hey, Octave, you're the ninja guy. You know, let's coordinate and kind of make that work in a ninja type schedule. So you know, that's something that maybe Matt would be absorbed into our team here to run that as part of our overall show. But what else do you have for lined up for OcGRE?
And again, the schedule online is right now a work in progress. So I mean, we've had a lot of people sign up and say, oh yeah, I want to run this and I want to run that, and those games will happen. Some of the timing may change though, and some of the price support and things like that. But all the games are on the schedule. So, but everything, I mean, we're still 3 months away. There's still a lot of flexibility. So we've got 2 big GW tournaments, a Fantasy and a 40K. We also have team tournaments for both Fantasy and 40K going on the other day. So whichever you play, you'll find something on both days. For Privateer Press, we have a regular event, a regular tournament. Then we also have a hardcore tournament. We have a Midnight Madness one for a Friday night / Saturday morning. We have Dread Ball, we have Drunk Ball, Dead Ball, Dead Zone.
Drunk Ball, that's another game that you really cannot do at the hobby shop. So that's it's stuff like that that would be a unique experience for your con that I think that the convention goers would find very appealing.
I know I want to play. I will need to play. For RPGs, we've got a number of RPGs from Werewolf all the way through Pathfinder. We have a really cool D&D event, which is a competitive D&D event, which is kind of cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because you and your band, your party go through the event, go through the dungeon, and you're scored on a bunch of different criteria. And then throughout the convention, it's like almost every hour they're running it, the Dead Gamer Society.
Oh, wow.
So every hour they're running it, basically, for an hour-long dungeon. So there's 2 or 3 of them rotating off on it. And then at the end, they're scored, and prizes are given out depending on where you want to be on, where you end up on it. So there's also the board games with all the Ticket to Ride, the Euro games. Steve Jackson, the guy who runs our board games for us right now, is really a big Steve Jackson guy. So we've got the Munchkin, the GURPS, all that stuff going on.
Cool. And we also have, I was talking with you about this, that we'd be going in with the Ninja Division stuff, at least Play It Painted and our crew. So Relic Knights. We haven't yet scoped out the like any events that we might do for Eldorado, but it would definitely be at least 1 to 2 events each for Relic Knights and Super Dungeon Explorer, and then we could look at some of the smaller games, some of the indie. Eldorado is an interesting game because it's a game that came out about 8 years ago originally, but is only just starting to see a comeback. So we'd be interested in bringing that to the show.
I think Robotech could be out by then, maybe.
Yep.
So I think Robotech's going to have a huge following. So
okay.
We'll see about that. Parallax should be there, doing some demos of that.
So with regards to events, there are some other events that I don't know if you've considered these yet, but there are some other events that some of these other local cons have that don't fall exactly in the realm of gaming. For example, Strategic Con has they do some like improv shows like Dungeon Master, which is interesting, and then for example Kingdom Con, they also did like SEA demonstrations during their convention as well. Have you looked at the potential to bring in something, say, a little outside, just left of what the gamers can expect to see at a convention?
We talked to a couple of different people. Like we talked to one of the guys wants to do a family LARPing event.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Sure what that is, but he said he started a LARPing group which is family oriented, and which is one of the things we're looking for. It's not really LARPing, but it is. So we've talked to him a bit about that. Ross is awesome because he's all about SCA, and he's heavily involved in it. That's great for him. If somebody want to do something or anything at the convention and they talk to us about it, chances are we're open to it.
So if I said, hey, I want to show up in armor with my friends and like beat on each other with swords, you'd be cool with that?
We have an outside area that you're welcome to do that. As long as you're that's fine. Actually, the cool thing about the area that we're in is there really is, because like we talked a lot about last year, or 2012, which I still consider the last year because it's the last cons. That one of the problems was the area, and getting up to the 3rd floor, and nobody could find us, or it was just Eldorado. So
awesome.
It's so awesome. So the nice thing about this year is it's 1 floor for us. So you walk in, and basically we're there. Where the free parking is, which is the back of the hotel, you basically have to walk through our area to get to the rest of the hotel. So there's no problem with people finding us. But the other thing is there's like a 2,000 square foot outside area, which is ours too, which isn't part of that 15,000 square feet. So you've got outside areas. So if people want to sit out there and play Magic, if people want to sit out there and drink or do whatever they want to do, there's a place for you to do that, which is kind of cool.
Okay. Cool.
If you want to do your comedy routines, you've got a place.
Nice. I could film another Play It Painted live, directly from OcGRE.
With natural lighting.
With natural lighting, that'd be fantastic. Cool. So so it sounds like we've got an up and coming schedule that's developing and starting to grow. So that's exciting. what about our vendor lineup? So I saw the vendor lineup online on the OcGRE Kickstarter page, but things might have changed, or you might be looking at other vendors. Would you give us a minute to talk about what we can expect from the vendors?
Well, right now you're looking at Brooker's Hobbies, of course.
Okay.
You're looking at Wargamma. You're looking at
All right.
Endiah Cutting, Badger. Um, those are the four big ones that I can think of offhand. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's been weird this year. With the whole Kickstarter and everything else, we haven't really gone after vendors like we went in years past. Um, you know,
And that's not necessarily a bad thing either,
it,
because
it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just this is for me this year. If we can get funded as a rebuilding year, and the next year we can say, hey, look what we did. The nice thing about the end of or November is that we're the end of the convention season. Like
hmm
we're not really competing with anybody else except for Board Game Geek, who are also doing a convention happening the same weekend because there's 52 weekends a year, so we have to pick a convention season that somebody else is doing.
Board Game Geek, is that also in Orange County, or is that somewhere else?
Where are they? Are they in Michigan or something like that? Oh no, they're not Orange County. That's for sure.
Okay, so
Yeah.
other than some board gamers in Michigan, we should be okay capturing the local
Yeah.
uh, Southern California player base here.
Yeah, or wherever they are, because I probably just sound stupid because I called them in Michigan, and then somebody will write in, "You idiot! Didn't you know they were in Wisconsin?" Um, and
Well,
honestly, I had
I
no idea
think
where they
that's
are.
I personally think that's a huge advantage, though, because come November, I can tell you personally that, and now I work a con season, um, pretty much like the most hardcore people in this region. I like to attend my cons. I especially love to work my cons. And come November, I'm itching. I'm sort of um, chomping at the bit here, waiting for my con season to start up again, because November for me is Long Beach Comic Con, which isn't even they don't even have gaming, but that's my option this time of year, and then maybe looking forward to getting ready for, say, HRM Steampunk Symposium. But so late in the year is actually a good thing. You've got some folks that are getting ready to go on winter break, that are looking forward to doing some hardcore gaming, and may have some weekends off. Especially this is around the adjacent to the Thanksgiving holiday, so that's nice. Um, and again, like you said, you're not competing with anybody. In fact, you're sort of filling a void there in our respective convention calendar.
Well, that's one of the reasons. I mean, we looked at the weekends they had offered, and there were a couple weekends that just conflicted with some other cons again, and we decided not to do it.
Mhm.
Respect for the other conventions is one thing, and again, when we started SmackDown, we did it because we needed a 3-day weekend. We're doing 2-day tournaments for Privateer Press, and we really wanted that Monday. So Friday, Saturday, Monday to do whatever we wanted. We're not doing those anymore, so there's no reason to compete. There's no reason to try and split the gaming community, and it just doesn't make sense. So November's a great month for that. The week before Thanksgiving, a lot of people are already off or taking vacation, so we thought that was a benefit too.
hmm
Um, and then the next big con, like you said, I mean, there's the San Diego one that's happening, the Steampunk Convention,
Yep.
and then after that, February
Right.
for DigiCon or Orcon or GameX, whichever
And
one's
all
the
this,
favorite.
and yeah, and I can tell you firsthand that there is a community. There are friends of mine that I only see at conventions. So having it in November gives us another excuse to get together and go, oh hey, um, I normally don't see Diane and her crew, which live up in Victorville, for example, until the next Strategicon, which would have been in February. But now, we can maybe get together in November. That's a huge thing for the diehard convention goers such as ourselves.
Yeah, I don't get to see Tin Man XL, Steve,
Yeah, it's
unless
another excuse to see Tin Man, who, by the way, I think is watching. I don't know. Has anyone chimed in yet on the? Let's check. Let me check Q&A and YouTube real quick. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I mean, it is a chance to see people that you don't normally see. And I think that's... Last year I got very depressed around about convention time because I'm like, where are all the people that I like hanging out with? I wasn't gaming at that time because there was just no gaming for me to do. And it was a hard time. So I look forward to seeing people this year.
Okay.
So any Q&A that you have for me?
Nothing yet. No, we've got viewers, but they're all just sort of taking it in, I suppose. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's for me. I think, and I think for the other people that are supporting this con, they're kind of looking forward to their calendar, and especially like last weekend, I was at San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm like, okay, well, this is for me. This is the last big thing that I do this year. You know, with the maybe off chance that I go and make it up to PAX for a day.
Be awesome.
But really, this is, you know, Comic-Con is really the last, the exclamation point on my con season. So, but it's not considering PAX, I don't have anything to look forward to until February. And you know,
I have a question for you. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Sure, no problem.
And I've always asked this. You know, it's funny because I hear a lot of miniature game guys say, "Oh, I can't wait for PAX," or blah blah blah. But PAX really isn't about the miniatures player or the board gamer.
No.
It's really about the electronics, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. For me though, I look at it, and I'm kind of opportunistic in that regard. I like going after the crossover crowd. I know that, and it's a different expectations. So if I'm working OcGRE, I know that the people walking up to the table are there for gaming, and most of them will be, especially in your case, most of them will be there for miniature gaming. So there's a certain approach that I take to teaching people games or running them through events, that there are certain understandings, like they understand the basics of moving a miniature. They understand, you know, how to look for combinations, or you know, they understand the basic nuts and bolts of gaming. With the crossover crowd, the fascinating part is handing somebody a tape measure for the first time, because that literally blows their mind. The fact that you play a game that is quote unquote so precise that you break out a tape measure for, and their approach to the game is very different. For example, at Comic-Con, I taught a couple that had never played a miniatures game. I taught them Relic Knights, and this couple was really big on, you know, those kind of resource management games, and they kicked the ever-living shit out of me in Relic Knights. It was hilarious. Like, I'd never had that thorough of an ass whooping in Relic Knights. What's that?
Of a smackdown?
Yeah. I mean, it was. I actually had to apologize to them that I was not as good as, you know, was not able to put up much of a challenge for them for the game demo. And it's like stuff like that is fascinating to me about the crossover gaming crowd. Is that, you know, sometimes their lack of habits in wargaming can be a huge advantage. But anyway, and I also do like just kind of having an eclectic crowd. You know, those are some of the guys play video games. Some of them play hardcore card games, and some of them play no games, and that's always fun. But the local con for me is about, basically it's about being, I guess, recentering yourself in your native environment, right? It's about pulling back and celebrating the gaming that you do with the friends that you may or may not see all the time, but are in that same, you know, they basically walk the same beat that you walk. So to me, there's value to both, and you know, I can get excited, just as excited for a small local con as I can for a very large, maybe non-gaming con.
The thing I like about the local gaming con is the fact that there's so many gamers out there that aren't playing in your local store, that who are playing in their garage or playing in a different store or whatever. You go, oh wow, you live in this area, why don't you play here? Or hey, what are we doing? Why can't we do this together? It's a great way to network and find people.
Absolutely, yeah.
I really like that. And like I was saying before, like you were just talking about the strategy of the people who do the resource manager who kick the everlasting what out of you. Those are the people that you're not seeing on a daily basis. And it's cool because from them you can learn new strategies. So you go back to your game store and go, ho, look what I learned,
Hmm.
which is always cool.
Yeah, and at your local con, and that's I think this is one of the I think the challenges not just for your convention but for gaming conventions in general, um, that bear a miniature games focus is trying to get those garage players in, right? Trying to get those guys that might buy their product at a local hobby store, but are maybe a little bit more reclusive with regards to who they game with. And just trying to sell them on the idea that, hey, we're not all page 5 Adam Rosenblum guys that yell domination at you. We I'm just kidding, but you can go, and some of the lasting friendships that you gain are from playing strangers. And if you never leave your garage, it's just going to be you and your 2 or 3 friends, playing the same games for the rest of your life, and that
And,
might be fun for a time, but
and it's
I don't
hard to
know.
convince people about that. I mean, I know what you're saying because I feel the same way. But like I hear from so many people. I mean, the two big comments that I hear are, well, why do I want to pay to go do an invention when I can just play with my friends in my house?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you're doing that. You're playing with your friends in your house, and maybe you're happy with that, which is awesome. And I've got nothing negative to say about that. But you're not really expanding your horizons. You're not learning new games. You're not learning how other people play. You're not really growing at all.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other question that I always hear is, well, the Kickstarter's good, but I don't really want to support a Kickstarter, so I'll just buy a ticket at the door. And again, here comes my motto of there is no door. Unless we fund on Kickstarter, there will not be a convention. Oh, so I'll just buy it at the door. No,
Hmm.
you could buy it at the door, but you won't be buying it for us.
Hmm.
I hope you
Yeah,
enjoy
and
your convention.
it is very hard to sell people on people that have been gaming in their own garage for most of their lives. Very hard to get them out of their shell and come to a con. And it's almost like they have to buy into the whole package, because first they have to spring the money to pay for a ticket. Then they kind of, once they get there, it's not gonna they're not just gonna suddenly all this stuff's gonna spring on them. They actually have to put their best foot forward, try to meet a few people, play some games that they would normally not have access to or not play, and that's really going to get them the most for their money. So selling people on that prospect can be a daunting one. And I can say from personal experience, I gamed for my brother and I gamed for at least, I want to say, 12 to 15 years, just with each other and just with, say, people within 10 miles of us. And we gamed that way forever, and we didn't attend any conventions until maybe early 2000s, where we went to Games Day when they had Games Day LA. And the funny thing about that, though, was when we finally committed to going to a con, the very first thing we wanted to do was volunteer to run games at the con. So even way back in I want to say it was 2000, 2001, when we started going to these cons, that we wanted to contribute to the convention. But it's a very different way of life for the way a lot of gamers are, because they might have had that bad experience in the LGS. They might have run into that player that just stomped them or ridiculed them or gave them a poor experience, and trying to get them away from that sour experience and really get their feet wet in a true gaming convention and meet new people. That's a tough one.
It really is. And especially because a lot of gamers aren't the most social gamers, aren't the most
Hmm.
social people. So you've taken a bunch of people who aren't very social and don't like new experiences to start with, then throw them and ask them to pay for it. They do an experience where they have to mix with new people, and that always isn't the best combination either.
Hmm.
But I mean, I think so far at the convention, I mean, other than one or two little rough spots, and those have been about some of the big conventions, some of the big tournaments, I don't think I've heard one negative person or one person say, "Oh, they were mean to me." I mean, most people have said, "Thank you for welcoming me. Thank you," not to me, but thank you for the gamers. We had a great time with Eric playing board games. We had a great time with Gail with War Machine. We had a great time with this thing. I mean, so far we've been really lucky in the fact that I don't think we've had any real jerks. No. There's that whole malice thing of last time, but whatever. I mean, we'll all get it.
Yeah, those guys were jerks. You should kick them out.
There will be no more SoCal Malifaux at the convention.
Oh, no, yes. This is true. This is fact. There will be no SoCal Malifaux at the convention. But, yeah, I don't know. It sounds like, it seems to me that that there is an established crowd that go to gaming conventions to compete. And those people can be relied upon if you throw a big enough competition or big enough tournament. They can be relied upon to pony up some money for a convention ticket, and they understand what they're getting to when they're going to the con. But early on, you mentioned specifically, trying to get the casual gamer to the con, because can you explain a little bit about what are some of the things that you might do to try and attract casual gamers to your convention?
Well, the thing about casual gamers is, where do you find them? Because they're casual gamers. So they're not on the newsletters, they're not in the meetup groups, they're not in a lot of those other places where we're hitting up. So we've done the Google ads, we've done the Facebook ads to try and hit people who say, "Oh, wow, that is one of my interests. I wonder how they found me." We've put up as many events as we've been given up online, so people go, "Oh, wow, I'd like to try that game," or "Oh, cool, that's my favorite game. I'd like to try it with some new people." I mean, those are the ways we're trying to attract people, and maybe there's better ways, and I don't know. I mean, we're doing the best we can, but there's definitely better ideas out there than we have, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, the reason why I was asking is because, from my own experience, I found that you can find some casual gamers at the other cons that we were talking about earlier. Sci-fi conventions, fantasy conventions, any kind of fandoms. There's always that potential, and it's not a big potential, but there always is a potential that somebody walks into that convention not as a gamer, and then they leave that convention as a gamer. It's happened a few times, and it's resulted in some really cool people that have joined our community as part of the larger maybe more casual gaming population. So yeah, trying to get the casual gamers to the con, I think would be a tremendous success and a boon for your attendance.
I agree. I think I've bored my dog to death. Can you see her? Is she?
Well, I can see your dog. Yes. Now,
I think I may have. Do you want to say hi? Yeah. Okay. I thought I may have bored her to death.
Dog.
That's not true. So, no, the fandom thing is definitely good. I mean, it's a matter of trying to hit those people and trying to find the right groups to hit them with.
And from the that could be a very low yield thing, unfortunately, too, because it's gamers are the aptitude for gaming is only starting to see a little bit more popularity. But now, when you talk about miniature gaming, that's an even more niche. That's an even smaller niche within the niche of people that attend cons and end up doing some gaming at conventions. So it's just an interesting thing for me. It's one of the things that I like to consider as I'm working those types of cons, and then also as I'm working the gaming cons, the local cons. I think about, okay, how are these local cons getting their new traffic in here? Some of it's, and I've seen you do some of this stuff in the past, especially with the 2012 campaign. where you're out in the streets and you're at the stores, you're handing out, you're going to some of the local events and donating passes to your convention in an effort to promote it. And I thought that was a really positive thing, especially in our local shops, that you show up at some of those events, you show your support to those events, and then you have your opportunity to invite people to go to your convention. So I think that was a really good strategy that worked.
It's funny, I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. But we had a lot of great people who came from those events. The first year we did it in 2010 for the convention, I went to every store who mentioned gaming, from here to Riverside to San Diego, all the way almost to Tijuana.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 84 stores.
Wow.
84
stores.
84 stores.
Wow.
With flyers, with promotional items, with anything I could possibly think of to get people to us.
Now, how did you budget for all of your expenditures involved around basically your marketing there, your promotional stuff?
We didn't budget for it. I mean, it's the same as this year. I mean, there is no budget, so the budget is whatever you're willing to spend. I mean, that's the realism of the situation. I mean,
right. So in other words, you're collecting, you're trying to collect money here, and you've cut it down to just essentially what is hotel and Kickstarter fees and fulfillment fees, but you're not even including the additional out-of-pocket costs for stuff like that, for promotional, for promotional stuff that you do in addition to the Kickstarter. That's
sorry.
I was just going to say that's quite another endeavor there. I mean, it just speaks to your commitment to getting this con going.
The idea is that as long as the hotel is paid for, the other stuff with ticket sales at the door would hopefully be enough to cover a lot of that. And what isn't covered, I mean, the risk is ours, and we're happy to take that risk. I mean, if it was to bring the convention back to Orange County, again, I know it sounds like BS, but it's not. Be happy to take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
Because we love the convention. I mean, again, some of my happiest memories from my late teens, 17, 18s, are the conventions that we went to in LA, where we go and have fun and stay up all night with our friends and play. I mean, there's nothing like that feeling that you're going to get anywhere else. And I love it. I mean, really, really love it. And even the convention this year, hearing people say, or last year, when we did in 2012, was hearing the people like Chris say, man, I love doing this with my son every year. And that's the best thing ever. I mean, how can you get any better feeling than that?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that's just awesome. Or when people say, hey, you know what, it's a great organized con, we love it, it's our favorite convention of the year, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's great. Yes, it's that whole personal recognition thing, but I mean, it's not really, because nobody else is ever going to hear about it unless I mention it on the show like I just did. But it's not about that. It's about the fact that we gave somebody a great time. And that's, to be honest, what it's all about. And if a father and son can enjoy it, like Harry and his son, who can come every year and just have a game or two or three games in it, it's great to me. I love it.
Mm-hmm. So what are, when you go to a gaming convention, and I've seen you at a few of the other local conventions, what are some of the things that you like to do when you're attending? Some of the games that you might be playing, or what is some of the stuff that you look for when you attend some of these other local cons?
You'll find me usually at the privateer press tables.
Okay.
When I went to Kingdom Con this year, the one that just passed, you could find me in the boardroom area, playing with Zen and his friend, and I just did board games for the entire day, which I loved. So it's cool. All good. I mean, seeing people I haven't seen forever like Zen was awesome. Or Jin, I'm sorry, who I haven't seen forever. It was awesome seeing him. Great seeing his friend. Saw Gail. Saw some of the other people in the other room I hadn't seen. It's just really fun. When we went to the house from the Fanatical Gamer Society, again, getting games in that we don't normally play is the best time. It's just nice to hang around with other gamers and not have to worry about what's going on in the daily life, what's happening with the wife, what's happening with the child, what's happening at work. Just getting away, the escapism of a day or a weekend is just awesome.
Okay. So let's say, for example, that the worst happens. OcGRE unfortunately does not fund. Would you consider maybe working or helping out with another convention, or having any more endeavors towards something other than OcGRE, or is it would you be looking to get back in the saddle and look at your next campaign?
I honestly don't know.
Okay. I'm sorry. I know that was a super tough question. It really is.
I don't know if I'd help.
Nope. Can you hold on a sec? I'm going to find out what that was. I'll be right back.
So to answer Octave's question, because I still think I'm on camera live, nothing more awkward than this. So two guys walk into a bar, but the third one.
Yeah. So yeah, a grasshopper flew into the house, and that was my wife's reaction. So there you have it. Good stuff. So see, that was levity. Broke up our like super intense, tough question time right there.
Yeah, I'm really boring.
But there was. Video and I was anyway, I'm gonna reload. I'm gonna reload comments here. See where we're at. Any questions for Adam or? No. People are just. It's a quiet crowd tonight. We're just taking it. I don't know. Are people? Maybe they're shell shocked from the Comic-Con feeds and all that stuff that I had here last week.
The fun ones.
Where actually there was one video where I did nothing but I showed people the wounds on the back of my heels. Where it's like, yeah, this is what it's like when you walk around in steampunk boots. Yeah. I think that was like the worst video ever. But so yeah.
When you go to Gen Con and you feel that heat rush forming when you go outside because of the blister.
Oh man, yeah.
And then the humidity. When your glasses steam up as you walk outside, and you're like, damn, what's going on here? So to answer your question, I don't know what I would do. I mean, the realism is we need $1,000 almost to fund in 10 days. And you and I talked about that earlier, and it's bleak. So there's still hope.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to do the Bon Jovi song, which I wanted to do with. Halfway there, living on prayer. That's so not good.
You should have karaoke at the con, I think.
Karaoke,
I think.
As long as there's bad drunk karaoke, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But, we're almost halfway.
We can't have people showing up with their own CDs and like a key changer, and they ask for this song and this key. No, those people get kicked out of the con. We need only bad, half-drunken or full-drunken karaoke.
And we pick their song from Cards from Humanity.
That's interesting.
Here are your lyrics.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson did what? In a pool of what?
I'd sing it.
But I know you would. But if we don't fund, I don't know what we would do. Going back to that original question. I mean,
okay.
I don't know. I mean, it would be hard to say that we'd do it again. Because obviously, if we can't get the funding, then how would we do it again? I mean,
Yeah, that's legit.
if people aren't willing to pay, then I mean, it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense to invest even more time, more money. I mean, it's not just the money; it's the time and effort that go on to it that people don't see behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah,
again,
for sure.
it's not a complaint, and it's not a whine, and it's not a bitch. Because if it wasn't, we wouldn't be doing it, or I wouldn't be doing it. If I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't. But I mean, it's funny when I hear people go, "Well, why are you charging $35?" And I'm like, "Well, that's still a really cheap ticket price for 3 days of a convention. Well, couldn't you charge like
Yeah, anyone
$20?"
who would question that price has never been to a convention um, of any note. You know, that's a very very fair price for a convention, and you can match that up against any other convention out here, and you'd see that that's a very very fair price.
But I hear that question all the time of, "Oh, well, that sounds too much," or and even when I say, "But we've done it like that, and we found a place for you with free parking because you wanted free parking." So not only did we give you a price that's decent now, we've given you free parking, we've given you events that you've been asking for. We're not. If you look at this website right now, and I've talked to people about this who've tried to charge for events, and I've said we really don't want to charge for events. We'd rather talk to local gamers and manufacturers and stores to get price support than charge for any games. So none of the games that we're doing right now, even the big tournaments, have any additional fees to go into the prizes.
Mm-hmm.
So into the tournaments. So if you're playing the War Machine, you're not going to have an extra fee to get the prize. If you play the GW, no extra fees. Prize support will either be donated by manufacturers or by local game stores, or Henry and I will pony it up to make sure that people have trophies and awards. So
That's cool.
people are not going to go home empty-handed. Oh, I didn't mention
Yeah,
Donkey.
I'm
For
sorry.
one of our vendors. I forgot Donkey, who's really fun. Cleveland Games. Really awesome
Yeah,
people.
I recall them from 2012. They were that was a very fun group.
They are a kick.
Mm-hmm. Haha, I see what you did there.
Donkey, it's a kick. Yeah. So, anyway, I should go put little man to bed if there's no more questions. But if there's anything else.
Let me just reload one more time. Again, folks, we're here with Adam Rosenblum of OcGRE, the Orange County Gaming Regional Expo. So let me reload comments, see where we're at. And comment from Billy, it's an awesome price for any con, especially in the OC. That was just a comment about the $35 admission.
Thanks,
And
Billy.
yeah, I'm not gonna talk about other conventions' pricing here, but I will just say from experience that is a very competitive price, and people are kind of silly to ask you why a con would cost that much for the entire weekend. It's kind of ridiculous, but yeah.
So anyway, my last plea, if you don't mind,
Sure.
is, again, please support the Kickstarter. We've got about $7,500 to go to fund, and if we don't fund, there isn't a convention. And this isn't like that. Well, if we don't fund, we're not going to do it. If we don't fund, we can't do it. So it's not like that idle threat that's going on. Hey, do this or else. But it's do this or we just don't do it, unfortunately, because there's just no way we can. So
Yeah. And you're not going to do like DashCon or anything like that, where we show up and there's a ball pit that's like 6 feet. That would be a funny thing to do, though. How about this? Yeah, if it funds, let's do that, and I will assist with putting up a little ball pit, just kind of a nod there to the DashCon.
I tell you what, as a goal, if we hit the $15,000, we will do a ball pit.
There you go.
There will be an area where there will be a ball pit. I don't know how we'll do it. I don't know anything else. But I guarantee if I have to buy the balls in the pool myself, there will be a ball pit. And
yeah, Logan's got a little inflatable guy, doesn't he?
He will by that time. And then the other thing I'd like to mention is, and I'm not sure who's noticed it or not, but the little ogre figure crafted by Dennis at Savage Forge Mini. I mean, the logo was created by Joseph Glass. who's just an awesome friend, an awesome guy. You know him as Luis for a lot of you. But he did the original logo, and then Dennis turned him into the 3D guy, or the crafted guy. And it's just an awesome model, and that's the $15 add-on. And again,
I mean, me personally, that's like one of, and I have my, I was like one of the pre-buys, but I was, I'm hopping back into the Kickstarter, hoping it funds, because that miniature is fantastic, and it holds some value to me. It's two of my friends have to do with the design of that miniature, yourself and obviously Luis, because I call him Luis, but yeah, so that does mean a lot to me personally, and it's a fantastic miniature. Can't wait. Would love to see that whole thing come to life, as well as your convention. So. Just so you know, Adam, we did get a spike in viewers, so if you don't mind, I want to see if there are any other questions. I don't want to just...
No, I'm here for you. Please.
All right. So again, we're here with Adam with the Orange County Gaming Regional Expo. So if you have any questions for Adam, that would be fantastic. Billy wants to know whose balls, because, yes.
I guess the question, Billy, is whose balls do you want them to be?
All right, so I guess with that, we're gonna, I guess you're gonna put your son to bed.
Yeah, on that comment, I'm gonna go put my son to bed. Thank you.
But no, seriously, it's been a pleasure having you on, Adam. Again, for you guys watching, go check out OcGRE. It's OcGRE.com, and check them out on Kickstarter. This is an important, sentimental, local convention for us. And you know how on this show we like to preach about the value of supporting and attending your local convention. Adam has been over the years, has been a staunch supporter of the gaming community, and we wish him well, and we want to see OcGRE come to life. So with that, any other final comments, Adam, before the viewers are stuck here with me and the paints?
Just thank you. I really do appreciate the support. I appreciate all the people who have already supported us. People have supported us over the years. And you know what? I hope we don't let you down. And I just appreciate you. So thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Octave.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Adam. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so that was Adam from Orange County Gaming Regional Expo. See, I almost left the G out of there, and I was just doing some basing here while we were talking. Yeah, it really is it's a con that holds some sentimental value for a number of us here locally in Southern California. It's where a lot of us met each other for the first time. It's where a lot of the stuff that happened that is what we consider to be the modern day online table gaming community. A lot of those bonds were formed at the SmackDown conventions, and so some of us actually owe Adam a bit of a debt here regarding his convention and his ability to draw us together. So. So that's what the con means to me. It's on the most practical terms for you guys that may not have ever attended the con. This convention is really your end of year awesome. I'll put it to you this way: it's your end of year awesome escape from the bullshit of Christmas that is about to happen. For real, think about it. It's November, late November. You're about to just do the in-law stuff for Thanksgiving. You could watch the ball games or whatever. You could do that. But then you're going to be doing all this shopping for the holidays, and you'd probably be depressed about all the money that you spent on worthless crap that nobody needs. And in the middle of that, you're going to have this awesome local convention where it's a bunch of guys, many of which you know, and hopefully a bunch of people that you don't yet know but want to know at the convention, to get in some gaming with, learn some new games, and have some fun. Name another thing, name another opportunity at that time of year that would be any better than that. I can't think of one, personally. And so we want this to happen, and we wish Adam the best. And you know, at least for our part, we're gonna try to help him reach his goal. So anyway, I'm gonna open it up because we do have some viewers, and there might be some people that want to hop on, talk about their lives, or maybe hear me talk about the inane shit that I always talk about on this show. So and Adam wanted to say, please say thanks to John Masek, who just pledged. Thank you, John, for joining the campaign. And obviously, Adam appreciates your support, and he wanted to thank you on air, which was awesome. So thanks for that. Okay, so anyway, we are painting here for another hour or so. If you do want to hop on the feed, fantastic. If not, let us know in the comments what you're painting or what you should be painting, and we'll take it from there. I'm going to have a little sip here, because I don't know if you guys, you might have missed it, but my wife was screaming during the interview, and I was like, what the hell happened? And, you know, run outside to check what's going on, and a grasshopper had flown into the house. So, you know, when you have a baby like me, you're paranoid. You have your first baby, you're paranoid. Every time she screams, you got to get out and run upstairs. So, but yeah, glad that it was just a grasshopper, nothing else. All right. So anyway, I'm going to look up. We're almost done with the July painting challenge here. So I have a couple of days left, and I figure let's find out what the question of the day is for the July painting challenge while we're painting. So let me open that up. Again, I want to thank you guys for joining Play It Painted Live. We had just finished talking with Adam Rosenblum of Orange County Gaming Regional Expo, and here we go. 29 Tuesday. If the game was real. If the game, you know what? When people call 40K the game, that's a little one-sided. But whatever. I'm gonna pick my game. How about that? I'm gonna pick my Ninja games here to answer this question. If the game was real, and you could actually command one of the armies in the game, and watch the battle play out from safety of an orbiting something else, station, hive ship, whatever, which army would you want to command? Which army would you want to do battle against and actually see your army fight, and why? I'm going to answer that from the perspective of two of my favorite games. We'll do Hell Dorado and Relic Knights, because those are my favorite games right now. So I'm not going to answer, because if you want my GW answer, it's not going to be polite. So anyways, so for Hell Dorado, which of the factions would I want to command? You know, I'm an Immortals fan, so I would probably want to be an officer in the Immortals faction, and I would want the Immortals to battle. I'd want the Immortals to battle the demons. Why not? Because, you know, we're in hell. That's who I would want to see them fight. If we're talking Relic Knights, my favorite faction would probably be either Cersei or Doctrine. I'm going to pick Cersei for this purposes of this discussion, and I guess I would love to see Cersei take on, say, the Star Nebula Corsairs. So, and the reason why is because I love the Corsairs as well, and so it's just kind of my opportunity to go double fanboy, you know, 2 for 1 for something like that. So as you can see here, I'm rounding the corner here on these miniatures. They're getting pretty close to completion. Just working on some detail stuff, and should be ready to go pretty soon. So this is all stuff that I actually airbrushed last night, and about 2 hours worth of airbrushing. And you can just see like how productive you can actually be once you are very comfortable with your airbrush. You know which paints are going to work and under which pressure settings, you get to do that stuff for. So yeah, this stuff's just gonna go super fast. I don't even know. Well, I guess I can. I don't even know if I need to really do much in terms of shading or highlighting. I would just do a little bit on the base here. Really not a whole lot to cover. So while we're doing this, because this is kind of mindless work here, and again, feel free to mention in the comments if you have any questions or any comments or anything like that you want to hop on. We can totally do that for you. But in the meantime, we can talk about last weekend, San Diego Comic-Con, because San Diego Comic-Con was my whole thing, and we did that last weekend. What an amazing show, you guys! How much fun! I can't even quantitate that for you, honestly. Very, very different show from previous years for a number of reasons. One, first and foremost, we're going in under our new label, under the Play It Painted label, and I could do a whole show just on scope change for what Play It Painted really means, and then probably at some point I'm going to need to do a show like that anyway. But yeah, would do that at some point, explain what this whole Play It Painted really is, what it really entails, and so forth. But anyway, we're going in with a new label. We're going in with some changes to the team, and we're going in with definitely changes to the games that we were running, because last year, the previous year, was kind of difficult. No lie. We went in last year with maybe a dozen different game systems, and while that was cool, and while everybody was able to kind of sign up for what game they wanted to run, it made it very difficult to kind of cover each other and publish a set schedule, because nobody. It's cool that people want to run this game or that game, but there's not a lot of thought put behind how can I cover somebody else that's running this game? Would I be willing to carry all this different set and all these different pieces for several different systems? So going into this season, I kind of made it clear that we would be going in with a set lineup of games, and I'll tell you right now, I picked early on for us to win with the Ninja Division games for a number of reasons, not the least of which was the fact that these are some of my favorite games to play, and I can't wait to show them off at the local conventions. But we picked our lineup, and we had 3 games that we're going in with. We're going in with Super Dungeon Explorer, obviously. Then we're going in with Eldorado, because that's one of my favorites, and we had Cypher Studios invited to come attend the con with us, and then we're going in with the newcomer Relic Knights. So SDE and Eldorado by this time in the con season were like well-established games. We already had people that knew how to run them, and the other folks at a bare minimum on our team were well versed in Super Dungeon Explorer, and we had some folks that were capable of running Relic Knights and Eldorado. But for the most part, those 2 games were my jurisdiction, because at the time I had the most experience with both of those games, and we had plenty of coverage for SDE, which was fantastic. So we went in with a team that was kind of trained to run that schedule, and we invited Ninja Division to come and attend with us this year. So a number of changes right off the bat. Another cool thing about these changes was we had a set schedule, and this year we actually had the ability to meet every single one of our schedules, and everyone showed up. Every person showed up for every assigned schedule. That was a first thing. That was a first for our little group there at Comic-Con. And I'm not trying to take away from the efforts of our past teams, but I'm just saying in the past we have had some issues with people canceling last minute, or people unable to cover this or that, or having to lug around too many sets and not ever really having any strong focus to our show. But this season, it was fantastic because everybody basically met their commitment with regards to the schedules that they signed, the shifts that they signed up for. And as it turned out, we had some people that weren't signed up for shifts but wanted to help anyway. So we had a couple of people that just stepped up immediately and were there to help. That was phenomenal. That was not planned for, and the fact that that happened during the con was fantastic. So some of the side effects of people having people actually make their shifts and cover their shifts was that I felt, and the other members of the team felt, that we actually all got to enjoy the show, and for my part, maybe a little bit more than I ever had before. A lot of times, I'm known as what is known as the key contact for San Diego Comic-Con. So if anything at all goes wrong with my show, I'm the person that has to answer for it. I'm the person that they call, and it's an additional responsibility that I take on for wanting to run our show at Comic-Con. But yeah, I as that role, I actually got to walk around with my wife and enjoy the show. And as it turned out, there were some new vendors on the floor that were a refreshing sight to see. And those vendors were Wargamma. You guys may know him as Mr. Dandy, or locally we know him as James. He had a booth at Comic-Con. That was fantastic. And I go super fanboy over James because he makes all of the awesome Eldorado terrain that I use. He makes he makes most of the SDE 3D terrain that I use, and he has a hand. I feature him in almost every single terrain table I make, and it's not because he's a sponsor of Play It Painted, which he is, by the way. It's not because of that. It's because I love his products, and I pay him money for the products. I don't say like, oh well, I want to do this, and you're my sponsor, send me stuff, which he will do. And in fact, he complained to me at the show that I need to stop paying him for stuff. But sorry, James, I'm not in this to use you for anything. I am genuinely a fan of your work, and I will genuinely, proudly show off your stuff. But anyways, he was there on the floor, which was fantastic. And then we also had Table War. We had Doug and the guys from Frontline Gaming and Table War down on the convention floor of Comic-Con. Now, how awesome is that? 3 years ago, when we started going to Comic-Con, there was no gaming, there was no miniature gaming, really, with any real presence at Comic-Con. And this past year, we had that. We had some real muscle on the floor there. We had some real representation on the ground, and that's a big step as far as I'm concerned. To really bring miniature gaming into the spotlight of the burgeoning nerd culture. So people at Comic-Con fancy themselves as nerds, and they want to, oh yeah, and I watched Nerdist, and I think Walking Dead is great, and I love these DC superheroes, and I'm a Whovian, yada yada yada. That's great, and I don't mean to take away from that, but I mean, gaming, miniature gaming in particular, is kind of it's almost like a niche market within the nerddoms. Are you professional grade? Do you even game, bro? Do you even miniature? And to see that presence growing at Comic-Con, and to participate, to be one of the main featured miniature players at such a large stage as Comic-Con is fantastic. So anyway, so this year was fantastic because of that. And the other thing I would point out, a general statement about Comic-Con, is this year attendance was ridiculous. Ridiculous, you guys. Let me get into that in a sec. I'm going to reload comments here. But yeah, I'll explain to you how ridiculous attendance was this year. So leave us a note in the comments. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. And if you want to hop on the feed, fantastic. Hey, dudes, any thoughts on the new dungeon game from Mantic? Looks awesome, called Dwarf King's Quest, I think. You know what? What's up, man? I have heard of that. I've seen some of the ads go out for it. I will tell you right now, and you'll probably shut me off after I say this. I historically am not a fan of the aesthetics from Mantic, and a lot of my friends are. And I don't mean to knock anything, their taste or anything like that. It just isn't for me. The Mantic stuff just kind of follows an aesthetic that I'm not into right now, and vice versa. A lot of my friends don't like the anime themed stuff that I've been playing lately. The high cartoony looking stuff, like Relic Knights, like this game, Super Dungeon Explorer, like Anima Tactics. And you know what? That's cool. They don't like that aesthetic. I don't really care for the Mantic aesthetic. That said, I get excited about games when they come out that interest me. But I wish I had more for you, man, because I love your stuff. By the way, was watching your that house that you built. I was fucking blown away by that, dude. It was fantastic. You got to keep making videos for real, because I love watching your videos. You got a lot of people that can't wait for your next video, and yeah, it's phenomenal. You got to come down and game here with me. Come down to SoCal at some point and game with me. Otherwise, you might just make me show up at one of your local conventions, and we'll do some gaming there. So, anyway, thanks for that comment there from Minutes on the Sun. Fantastic dude. If you haven't checked out his channel, check it out. It is awesome. All right, so let's talk about how freaking crowded Comic-Con was. Okay, so just to let you guys know, every year there are 130,000 badges sold for Comic-Con. And when I say 130,000, we're talking about a combined 130,000 badges for 4-day passes. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 130,000 spots, essentially, for Comic-Con. Okay? And so you would figure that every year, because they sell out in the first 45 minutes or whatever, you figure that Comic-Con is at saturation and that the crowd every year theoretically should look about the same from one year to the next. Not the case, my friends. This past year, they decided to sell Comic-Con badges kind of individually. Not kind of individually, but actually individually. So if you wanted a 4-day badge to Comic-Con, what you had to do when you were buying tickets was you would have to buy 4 individual 1-day badges, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then you could trade in those 4 badges for a 4-day badge. Okay? So, yeah, it seems kind of annoying, right? It seems kind of like a hassle. Why would they make you do that? That doesn't seem to make sense. Well, here's the genius in that. Okay? So if you have to buy days individually and you're attending Comic-Con, you may look at this as an opportunity to save money. For example, I never go to Sunday at Comic-Con. Okay? Right. So you never go Sunday. Why buy a Sunday badge? Now you can buy 3 days worth of badges, and you can save your money buying a Sunday badge. You can also pick and choose what days you want, and then also it allows the physical number of people more opportunities to attend the con, right? So the guy that keeps missing out on the 4-day badges in years past might be able to pick up, say, a Sunday and a Thursday. So you've got more faces, more physical faces that walk the con. Ideally, the attendance should be the same every single time. But what the situation does is it actually increases the amount of physical people on site, because now you have this situation where people have bought individual days and are therefore more likely to be committed to attending on the days that they purchased. And what this means for us is that uh, we were insane. We were wall to wall, and it was unexpected. Okay, I will be completely honest with you. Comic-Con I normally regard as a logistical challenge that results in a lightly attended gaming convention. All right, so from strictly from the gaming perspective, Comic-Con is not a gaming con, nor will it ever be accused of being a gaming con. So I equate the attendance and the traffic into the gaming area at Comic-Con more like one of the other smaller local cons that we might attend. That was not the case this year. We were wall to wall. We were busy starting Thursday all the way to Sunday. So it was insane. It was just a new challenge added on top of the other challenges that we have at Comic-Con. We went in with our show. We had Ninja Division, Ross Kai, David, and we even had a couple other guys that were kind of with Ross's crew, like George and Tom. So we had a full roster of people, and that included our guests from Ninja Division. We ran into them on Wednesday night, which was great. I toured around with them Wednesday night. We did preview night together. And it's funny walking around with Ross. Now, for me personally, when I go to cons this big, like Comic-Con, Gen Con, WonderCon, if I'm walking around the convention floor with, say, my wife, I have to stop like every 20 feet or so. And it's really annoying. You have to stop 20 feet or so because people they want to take pictures of your wife, and my wife, she does it up. She does the cosplay, and she has the sexy showgirl burlesque type outfit, and obviously the photographers want to take pictures of that. So we stop every 20 or so feet, and it's just a given whenever I'm walking around the floor with my wife at one of these bigger shows that's what I'm gonna do. With Ross Thompson, it's the same thing, except it's not for the sexy factor, although I'm sure some of those people stopping Ross are for the sexy factor. It's actually because Ross is like the Ferris Bueller of gaming. He's going to stop every 20 feet because he knows at least 3 people within every 20 square feet of the convention floor. So Kai and David show up, and they've been up since 4:30, and Ross is running them ragged around the floor here. And the rest of us are just kind of there for the ride. And I'm, snapping photos. I have a video put together of us running through the crowds and talking to people, which is kind of cool, which I should have up for you later. And yeah, it was just comical because it's like some of the guys were really tired, and Ross was like, hey, like every 20 feet, which is awesome. So that was the preview night. I broke off from them towards the end of preview night to go meet up with Marty. And Marty was at the Capcom booth. You guys saw the loot that I put up. I think that was day 24 of the July Painting Challenge. You can find the whole adventure on the July Painting Challenge, by the way. So that was preview night. Thursday, I worked by myself and had some help from Gabe Andaya Laser Cutting. And that was a busy freaking day, man. That was insane. That was like a Saturday WonderCon, and I was just blown out of my mind. Like, I can't believe Thursday's generally pretty light, but man, we were completely slammed on Thursday. So that was Thursday. I ran Hell Dorado. Now, Hell Dorado at Comic-Con was fantastic. You always get a little nervous bringing a tried and true skirmish system like Hell Dorado to Comic-Con, but there were people there that showed up that couldn't wait to try it, that saw it on the schedule. Thank God for the schedule, by the way. They saw it on the schedule. They showed up immediately at 10 o'clock, and they're like, hey, we've been dying to play this Hell Dorado game with you. Let's try it out. And I was more than happy to show them the game. So that worked out really well. Very fun crowd. So Hell Dorado. Then the middle of the game, middle of the day, I switched over to SDE for a little bit. Ran a couple games of SDE, and then towards the end of the day, switched over to Relic Knights. Here's another game that was kind of nervous going in with, because Relic Knights has a lot of parts to it. The game itself has a lot of components to it. But that said, it's a simple game. It's very hard to explain to people because, you know, it's almost like you're sitting down at an automatic transmission, not an automatic transmission, a manual transmission car, and you've got all these, you know, you got your stick shift and you've got to balance your clutch and your gas and all that stuff. And it can be very intimidating. And Relic Knights has a lot of pieces to it. You know, you have cards that need to slide a direction. You have a number of tokens. You've got a number of scenario conditions. And in order to refine that and make that palatable to people in a small time frame, I thought there had to be some pretty massive tweaks. And you know what? I was wrong, actually, as it turns out. People picked up Relic Knights and they ran with it at the con, and I was blown away by that. It was fantastic because it was like once you got them through setup, and I recommend if you're playing with established gamers, take them. Don't put models on the board. Don't put objectives on the board. You can set terrain, but put the models in front of them and make them walk through the setup, because then they can appreciate one of the hallmark features of the game, which is the lack of deployment zones. So yeah, we ran some Relic Knights at the end of the day Thursday. And that went off like gangbusters. So Thursday was over. My wife comes into town, which is fantastic. You know, wife spent the night in the hotel, and then Friday came around, and I worked the morning shift Friday. I believe, yeah, more Relic Knights in the morning Friday, and then I had Friday afternoon off, which was great. I mean, not just off like I had 20 minutes to go run and say hi to Timac, like I always do, which I did like a couple of days. I just had to make sure that he and I were best friends. Yeah, had the afternoon off to walk around, really walk the show with my wife, visit Dandy, visit Table War. So that was really cool. Let's see. Hello, Octave from Tori. What's up, man? How's it going, Tori? Hope you're getting some sleep, dude. I'm getting kind of worried. I know you've got some insomnia. We want to help you with that. I will ramble here all night if it will help you sleep, for real, because I'm worried. Anyway, let's see. Thanks, bro. I only live 2 hours away. Haha, thanks for the nice words, dude, and the shout-out. I hear on the Mantic stuff. Not sure if I'm a huge fan either. I'm just glad to see the Dungeon Quest genre still alive. I love the look of SDE stuff too. That's how I found your channel. Thanks again for the compliments. Hey, no sweat, man, and well earned. I cannot say enough about the custom stuff that you build and paint. It is ridiculous. Again, you guys need to check him out. Minutes on the Sun. If me and Nick Legion agree that this is a dude that you need to watch, you need to watch this guy because it's awesome. And if you're 2 hours away, man, I'm not kidding. I will drive 2 hours. I'll drive 2 hours and we'll play a game. We can play SDE if you want. I don't care. But yeah, we got to make it happen, man, because it'd be cool. Wow, lots and lots of rambling here. But I hope you guys are all right. I really do appreciate everyone watching. Once again, Play Painting Live. If you guys want to talk about what you're painting or what you should be painting, fantastic. Minutes on the Sun, would love to hear what you're painting. Same thing with you, Tori. And again, for everybody else out there. It was cool. So, Thursday happened, and then Friday I actually had the afternoon off, which was even better because, you know, I had a little bit of time to just kind of run around, enjoy the show, and then get ready for our broadcast live with Ninja Division. All right, now that thing was a half heart attack, and I'll explain why. All right, so, you know, and I don't mean to sound like super fanboy, and I will apologize right off the bat if I do. So Friday night, our show closes at 6, and we're tearing everything down, and me and Phil are trying to look at, you know, what are our options to go get some dinner, and we miss our window, right? Like, we get shit put away, and then suddenly, you know, Kai and David and Ross are there, and we're having to set up for the show. And I'm nervous because not only, you know, earlier in the Thursday, I'm running Eldorado, and I've got David Freeman, the core designer, watching me run a demo. And I'm like, oh shit, I hope everything I just told this guy was right. because David, it would probably be like nails across the chalkboard if David were to see me teaching somebody Eldorado and not correct in my rules. But now we have them, the three of them in front of us. We're expected to run a semi-professional sounding interview, and we've got a number of variables in play, right? We've got the noise of the gaming hall, we've got the instability of the Teen Wolf Wi-Fi at Comic-Con, and then we have the questions themselves. The questions, luckily, to all of our fans and our friends and peers over at the Cypher Facebook group and the Relic Knights Facebook group, we had some fantastic questions to ask them. So I really appreciate you guys that stepped up and submitted questions. There were some great questions, some of which from my own, from my close friends here, and definitely from both groups. So we had good questions, and Jill from the Eldorado, the Total Command, the Eldorado Hobbycast was our moderator, and she was set up to ask those questions. So there was that, and making sure that Jill and all of our equipment and everything jived. Luckily, we did a dry run on Wednesday. You guys, if you actually watch the dry run, you'll see that Ninja actually showed up in the middle of that, which was kind of cool. And so when we did the live broadcast, I don't know, we turned the camera on, and these guys that were pretty quiet for most of the weekend, well, with the exception of Ross, naturally, the guys that were quiet over the weekend just, they lit up. They couldn't wait to talk, and they wanted to hear, what the fans had to ask, what the fans had to say. And some of those questions weren't exactly easy questions, you guys. Some of the questions were like, hey, Eldorado takes forever for anything to come out for. What do you guys have to say about that? Some of the questions were along those lines, and I decided to include them anyway, because that is truth. That's what people want to know. And to hear from Kai and David and Ross the reasoning as to why, some of the things that from the outside seem like they're easy, but they're not. Looking at being truthful and honest about some of the delays that face every manufacturer, the obstacles and the challenges that face anyone that's putting together a Kickstarter. It's refreshing to hear. There are a lot of manufacturers or people in the industry can't wait to give you an excuse for something, but I really felt that the guys at Ninja were forthcoming, and they were honest about some of the stuff that they could have done better, and what they know in the future, and what they're more than willing to share with us as far as learning experiences and so forth. So the whole thing was really, really positive, and man, I was just blown away that a company like Ninja Division cared enough about our community to pay us some airtime. They didn't have to be on my channel. They could have picked a much bigger venue for stuff like that, and they have access to bigger venues. They have access to more mainstream media. But, they were cool enough to join our quiet little vidcast that we do here. The two hands in front of the screen, and us just breaking out the paints, talking shit, and painting. The fact that they were cool enough to do that. And I spent a lot of time with them off camera, and just to see how real these guys are, how down to earth they are. Shared a beer with them, which was like my favorite part of the con too. I will tell you my favorite part of the con here in a minute, because that, in all honesty, that part wasn't, but it was up there. Kai buying us pizza and beer, and just relaxing with these guys and talking about some of the gaming that they like to do. That's always fascinating. And you know what? Some of you guys may know I've had contact and some semi-professional relationships with the manufacturers in the industry, with different game designers and producers, but none of them really struck me as genuinely as Cypher Studios, and I hope you guys understand the weight of that comment, because it really does mean a lot that they were there to come down, hang out with me, hang out with my friends, watch us in action, and they supported us. They gave us prize support for the show, which was fantastic. I hope the people that attended the show enjoyed the prize support because I was super jealous. So the stuff I had to give away, I'm like, I don't own one of those. That's a limited mini. Damn it. But yeah, I was blown away by that. And just hanging out with these guys was a treat. So after the show, like you said, we're walking the mean streets of San Diego. Ross pulls us into the Joltin' Joe's, which is like the hangout, the Geek and Sundry hangout. The Geek and Sundry weren't there because this was late at night now. So we're just in there having some beers, talking with those guys about gaming. We had a lot of honest discussions about Eldorado and Ninja Division, Relic Knights, where they see things going. And I got to tell you, I'm super excited. I'm super excited. And to be in a room with gamers that were like my age, that played a lot of the same stuff I did, and enjoy a lot of the same stuff I do, was quite a treat. It really was. All right, so I'm going to reload comments here. We're going to see where we're at. You can see my miniatures are nearing completion, so that's good. All right, some more comments. Okay. I'm sculpting tonight a fat cleric and a chicken nugget-headed goblin. Awesome. And the painting clinic, Tony stops in. What's this? I came for Adam. Dude, you're like an hour late. Adam got tired of talking, and he went home. And well, he was home, but he went to sleep. By the way, painting clinic, I did plug your video on the street bases for Relic Knights because that was really cool. And I was like, dang, now I'm waiting for my Cersei stuff to come. I may have to steal your idea, man, because it's awesome. And I will probably ruin my bases doing that because I can't. I don't have the attention to detail that you do, but I will try it anyway. But so thanks for putting up that video. It's fantastic. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Ninja Division was awesome. I enjoyed learning more about them personally and looking forward to getting a few miniatures in the future. Been pinning up a Dread Knight for Grey Knights. Oh, good stuff, Tori. Yeah, I saw your progress on that. The Dread Knight is a really cool miniature, and it's cool to see, your progress as you post it. So please post more. I really do enjoy. This is me talking about a GW miniature. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, but yeah, I do love that miniature. It's cool looking, and I love the work that you're doing on it. So fantastic. All right. So anyway, so that was our vidcast. Jill from Total Command, fantastic. Did a great job. We were teasing her before the show, before we were on air. All of us were kind of teasing her. You're not at Comic-Con and you're trapped there in Canada and all this other stuff. And we're giving her the proper messing with before we're on air. But yeah, she stepped up big time. I needed help because I'm managing all this technical stuff in the background, managing the comments coming in, making sure our feed is still up. We lost our feed like 5, maybe even like 90 seconds before we shut down. But yeah, I needed somebody on the stable side that could present the questions and collect the thoughtful answers as given by Ninja Division. So once again, if you are not listening to Total Command, Jeebus, I'm like a freaking commercial now. Seriously, I'm like, oh yeah, buy Dandy stuff and do it and watch this guy. But seriously, I don't plug anything on this channel unless it's something that I do or I enjoy personally. That's the truth, man, for real. And I've had companies. Well, this is the like braggy part. People will try to send you stuff and be like, oh yeah, you've got some, you can show off my product. And you know what? If I don't like the product, I won't do it. And I know that, like, for example, Tony gets sent way more stuff than I do. And he will review the stuff. And I know that he gives honest reviews on stuff. If he doesn't like something, he'll say it, which is amazing. And there's not a lot of that going on in YouTube. There's a lot of people on YouTube that just want free stuff. They're like, oh yeah, send it to me, and I'll give you a positive review. So, hold on 1 minute, folks. All right. So anyway, yeah, it's true that there are some people on YouTube that like want to get free stuff and say, "Oh yeah, your stuff's amazing and I use it all the time," but they don't actually use it. That's garbage, man. If you hear me like plug anything on this channel or plug anybody like say Andia Laser Cutting or War Gamma Table War, I'm actually using their shit, man, for real. Because I don't know. I just whatever. I just won't do that. I don't want free stuff and to be able to say, oh, I get free shit, and then like not use it. First of all, I don't really want free stuff. Well, it's nice to have it, but I don't like chase it. How about that? And secondly, I don't plug anything that I don't actually find useful or valuable to me. So whatever. Anyway, let's reload comments here because we are approaching the 2-hour mark. And once again, I want to thank you guys for watching and sitting here watching me paint these things. This is like the 4th or 5th. It's at least the 4th time I think I painted some Bondrak stuff because I'm still waiting on my Relic Knights, the rest of my Relic Knight stuff. So anyway, let's see, more comments coming in. Tony says it's easy, just make the cracks straighter. Yeah, I know. I still like the way you did the cracks. I know you say you were going to do it for like a desert style road, but I still like them. I mean, those cracks, the spider style cracks have a lot more character to them, in my opinion. Granted, the straight cracks are more in line with what you would actually see in concrete. I don't know. I haven't decided if I wanted to do something like asphalt or whatever. Okay. And from Placebo Pete, not painting anything at the moment. I'm waiting for base inserts I ordered to get my Doctrine primered. I have 47 points now. Sweet. So, Kevin, did you buy... Oh, okay. So, I guess you bought Doctrine from the Mod Store and are probably building off of that. I'll tell you this. After having a whole weekend at Comic-Con and running Doctrine against No, it's really interesting what people do with that kind of playstyle, because their playstyle really does play to the whole managing your held Esper, transferring it around, and then just unloading it on people. And you can do some really devastating stuff to people once you have that Esper stored up. So, for example, one game I saw somebody store up till they had, like, with Kisa, they stored up till they had something like 20 held Esper, and they had Kisa, they had Novitiates, and they had Fiametta, and they moved a lot of that Esper. They're just dumping it off on Fiametta, and then just freaking unloading on the No, and they just decimated the No. Once they were able to steer clear of the renders that the No had, and they were kind of playing cat and mouse. Man, Fiametta as an artillery piece is ridiculous. So, hope you enjoy. Please don't destroy me too bad when we play. And I figure by the time we'll play, I should have either Shattered Sword ready for you or Cersei. Want to see what Tony Cersei looked like so I can get thoroughly depressed about how I'm painting mine. But yeah. So let's see. Okay. All right. So just about done here with this batch. I'm gonna give my customary wash here on the bases, just so that the bases match up with all the other SDE bases that I paint up. And yeah, I mean, I guess my question to Tony is, are you actively playing Relic Knights now, or are you just painting it? Because it would be cool to get in some games, man. If I head up your way, I'd like to play some more Relic Knights. And want to get your impressions of the game as well, if you've played it yet. Don't know if you've played it yet. I know Dan and Jason have seemed to indicate that they are at least putting stuff together, but I don't know the extent to which you guys are playing it. But yeah. Yeah, just want to get in general, want to get in more games of Relic Knights. Now, some announcements for the show. Just so you guys know, I did mention that this quite possibly may be the last Tuesday broadcast that we do. And it's because I will be moving my gaming night over to Tuesday nights at Comic Quest, my LGS. So Comic Quest has, currently they have Thursday open board gaming, and they have Tuesday night Tactical Tuesday. And Tactical Tuesday is really the miniatures night at CQ. But when I first started, when they first broke out the schedule, I had opted to go to Thursday for the most part because Thursday just seemed a little easier for my schedule, and I like the board game crossover crowd. I like the opportunity to show board game players that there is this thing called miniature gaming, and miniature gaming can be quite fun too. So I was kind of like the wild card for the board gaming, because I would bring some of these miniature games like Super Dungeon Explorer, Zombicide, and then I would bring like Eldorado Anima Tactics, and a bunch of other weird ones too. I think I brought Saga one night, Dead Man's Hand, a bunch of the other unusual games, miniature games, just for them to see. But anyway, as time went on, I started to notice that we're kind of hitting our saturation point there with what I could show that board game crowd. And it's not like I won't ever go back there on Thursday nights, but I felt that we want to give Relic Knights and Eldorado a chance to breathe in their more native environment, and that is with other miniature games. So Tuesday nights, from what I'm told, is mostly War Machine players, Warmahorde players, which is kind of cool. And Warmahorde players have shown some desire, at least the ones at CQ, have played Eldorado with me, and they want to play more Eldorado. And they've also indicated that they want to start playing some Relic Knights. So I'm like, well, they're already coming on Tuesday, and as long as I'm not squelching the efforts of the press ganger, which I want to coordinate with him and make it clear that I'm not there to poach players, but I'm really there to supplement the league stuff and the other tournament stuff that he already has lined up for them. Supplement them with these side games, and maybe try to even draw some more traffic into the area so that both of our play groups can benefit. I think it's a good move. And it gives us a little bit more room to breathe. For this show, I would probably be looking at a Wednesday night broadcast at 9 p.m. And what that would allow is, that would be the night after my gaming night, and we can talk specifically about what happened the gaming night before, and so forth. Now, with regards to the weekend activities where, I'm going up to Monstore, that has been in jeopardy for some time now, and the Monstore crew is well aware that I'm not going to be as consistent as I used to be in years past, and in fact, I think at this rate they're used to kind of not seeing me there very much on Sundays. I don't expect that will change. I don't think it will change for the better or the worse with me moving my night to Tuesday. It just means that my normal night will be Tuesday, and when I can make it, I can be up there at the Monstore to game with you guys. Now I hear that talked to Mark today, and he told me that Kevin, that he played some Warmahordes with you over the weekend, which is cool. And so I'm looking forward to getting back out there. I want to play some Eldorado with you too, man. Eldorado with Kevin and Relic Knights with everybody up there at the Monstore. So hopefully we can get that together. And when Rory's stuff finally comes, I will have some ammunition to head up that way and just hang out with you guys. So there's that. All right. So any more comments? A couple more comments coming in. It's a game 2, really? Yeah. Very funny, Tony. Yeah. As it turns out. Now I've been told from people who don't even like the aesthetic of the game, that they really enjoy the game mechanics. And in my opinion, this really is the mechanics for Relic Knights is it really does make it a bona fide skirmish game when you look at it. I mean, there are some skirmish games that are kind of light on mechanics, and you might think that a game as cartoony looking as Relic Knights might be a little bit more of a like beer and pretzel type game. That is not the case, man. This is a deep, rich system, at least at first. You know, I would say I'm less than 20 games in between teaching and playing, but it does look like a very rich system. It's got some really, really solid gameplay mechanics in it. You know, you might want a second opinion from Dan, see how he feels about the game. But that's how I feel about the game so far. You know, I'm a fan. I feel that this system is rich and has plenty of opportunity, plenty of space here for us to move into and explore. So, all right. Any other comments here? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, decided on going Cersei and Doctrine a while ago, waiting for my Cersei from Rory. So Rory actually has both of our. He has my Cersei faction and he has your Cersei faction, which is great. I will tell you right now, though, Kevin, Cersei is my favorite of aesthetically. I don't know about playstyle yet. So, you know, since they're my favorite aesthetically, they're probably going to be among the last models that I paint. And that's just my own kind of mindset when I'm painting miniatures, is I start from my least favorite and work my way over to the most favorite. So I will probably start with either Shattered Sword or Black Diamond, because those are Black Diamond is my least favorite faction aesthetically, you know, from an aesthetic standpoint. But I've already painted some Black Diamond. So I may actually go Shattered Sword because I want to play something that I really am looking forward to playing. And so Shattered Sword is that, and I love the Shattered Sword, the you know, the white and blue armor, classic paladin looking stuff. So okay. So that said, we are just about ready to end our broadcast here. Just doing a quick wash on these bases, and this basically painted Von Drack is about ready to go. I think if with any luck, I can finish this Von Drack set, and we can play some of it on Thursday. If I can make it to CQ Thursday. So for, you know, one of my last board game nights, I could bring SDE. I'm going to play some SDE with the guys there. Or, if it's not ready, I'll just bring Relic Knights again and see if anybody is willing to play some Relic Knights. And then I'll tell them about Tactical Tuesdays. Alright, so let's reload one more time. We are at the 2-hour mark now, and I'm going to reload one more time, and then we're going to call it show. So, let's see. Okay. I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys. So, anyway, that's going to end our show for tonight. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Once again, you want to check out the OcGRE Orange County Gaming Regional Expo on Kickstarter. I'm going to put a link in the description of the video so that you guys have the option to do that. There are 2 weeks left, you guys, and it is at this point it is looking kind of bleak, like Adam pointed out. But you know, things can happen. You'd be surprised, and the more of us that step up and get the word out, the more support that we show for our friend, the better chance we have of this convention actually happening and being a success. So I strongly urge you guys to at least look at OcGRE. If you can, tell your friends about it. I will tell you from my end, if it does happen and you guys run into me over there, let's play some games, man. Let's have some fun, because that's what it's all about. So anyway, that's going to end it for this episode of Play It Painted Live. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.